Today I'm not playing a brew. I'm playing something that's a little more competitive. I'm going with Jeskai Control, and the reason I'm drawn to this deck is this deck just feels really powerful right now. This deck took second place at the Louisville Open, and I read an article that the pilot wrote saying that it just felt really powerful against more or less every single matchup in the game, except for Mardu Pyromancer, which he lost twice to. And the guy he lost to was the person who got first. So I like this deck a lot just because of how reactive it is, how powerful it is, and I just really want to try out Teferi. He's this new fun card from Dominaria. The consensus from the pros and the players who I've written articles is that Teferi is better than Jace the Mind Sculptor in Control, and that's something that no one was expecting, considering Jace was on the ban list for Modern for so long. So I really want to play with a card that is better than what was considered to be the best Planeswalker in Magic. The main deck's really not too crazy, so I'll go over it pretty quickly. We have a burn package in the form of 3 Lightning Bolts, 3 Lightning Helixes, and 2 Electrolyze. In Game 1, this is typically how you win. You use these burn spells in conjunction with Snapcaster Maze to just poke your opponent to death. Since so many players will be playing fetch lands and shock lands, you don't typically need to do 20. You just need to do something like 16, which is very manageable, especially when you have the occasional Celestial Colonnade hit in or Snapcaster gets in for damage. You also have Secure the Wastes as a win condition. This card can just come down on end step and attack for quite a bit. It's very hard to effectively remove. Since it comes down as an instant speed, Wrath of God type effects aren't good at dealing with it, and you can't use just little removal to take care of them. So you can typically use Secure the Wastes to also get in that last bit of damage. The rest of the deck is just counter spells, removal, and you have card advantage engines in the form of Search for Iskanta, which is just absolutely incredible, especially in conjunction with Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, who can untap a flipped search if you use it on your main step and use his +1 ability. The rest of the removal is a couple Supreme Verdicts for board wipes, Path to Exile for the large, bothersome creatures, and we round it all out with Sphinx's Revelation to just gain a bunch of life and draw a bunch of cards. This card's just very good. I always like having one of these in my deck if I'm playing a blue-white control deck. The sideboard, one of the things you'll notice is there's really not a lot of artifact hate, and there's not a lot of graveyard hate. And I think that that's totally fine for a deck like this. The decks that are using the graveyard are decks like Hollow One, where you probably can beat them just from Wrath of Gods and Path to Exile, taking out their recursive creatures. And Mardu Pyromancer, which is already kind of a bad matchup. There's also not any good graveyard hate that's available to this deck, because Rest in Peace hits our own graveyard, and we use our graveyard for Snapcaster Mage, Logic Knot, Search for Iskanta. Relic's an option, but it's a little awkward in that you always kind of have to have that 1 mana open. And again, it hits your own graveyard. You could run Surgical and just flash it back with Snapcaster Mage, but the main deck you would want graveyard hate against is Mardu Pyromancer, because that is your worst matchup. And Surgical is really not the graveyard hate you want against Mardu Pyromancer. So I think that it's correct to just not try to add in graveyard hate, because it's not going to make your bad matchups that much better, and you're better off having cards in your sideboard that help you win those close matchups. So we have 2 Celestial Purge. This is a great card against Mardu Pyromancer because it can hit Blood Moon, it can hit all their threats like Young Pyromancer and Bedlam Reveler. Sometimes they bring in Liliana. Sometimes they bring in Chandra. So Celestial Purge is really good. It also just occasionally you're running against someone else playing black and red, and you'll want that card. Rune Halo's in here. It's just a really good card against a lot of matchups. Good against Boggles. You can name Boggles or Glade Cover Scout. It's good against Storm if they don't bring in any sort of like bounce effect and they're not expecting it. You can name Grape Shot. It's also just a good effect. You never know what deck you're going to run into where you really are afraid of one specific type of threat. Baneslayer Angel's in here. I've been seeing this in a lot of the Jeskai Control lists. Admittedly, I don't know if this is the right card to be in here. It's an expensive threat you have to spend a lot of mana on. I feel like this could be the one card you would swap out if you didn't have it, and you could probably be fine adding in either another Elspeth or maybe another Teferi. Baneslayer may just be better as a Geist of Saint Traft. We have a lot of counter spells in the sideboard. This is because I think Control is so well positioned that I want to be winning every single Control mirror. So 3 Dispel, an extra Negate, an extra Disdainful Stroke. I think that's going to do it. And these spells are also just good against various combo decks. If you play against Storm, if you play against Ad Nauseam. We have 2 clicks in here. This is also like the Baneslayer Angel in that it comes in as a threat when everyone's siding out creature removal. I like this a lot better than Baneslayer because Vendilion Click is a flash threat. We finally have 1 Wear Tear. This is for Blood Moon, Affinity. You never know when there's going to be an enchantment or artifact you need to get rid of. And Engineered Explosives is just a catch-all. It's good in pretty much any 3+ color decks. All right, we are here for round 1 with Jeskai Control in this competitive modern league. We won the die roll, so we will be playing first. In this hand is a little awkward in the sense that we only have 2 colors, and we won't be able to turn to Logic because we don't have any fetches, but we do have turn to Search on the play, and the rest of our hand is really good. So the Search should be able to help us get to our 3rd and 4th land to unlock the rest of this hand. So I'm going to keep. All right, so we'll just play a Steam Vent tapped. All right, Strand for our opponent. This feels like this could be the mirror. Yeah, you got Serum Visions. Well, this is really good. This deck that I'm playing, assuming he's playing the same list, only runs 1 Field of Ruin. So getting a Search for Iskanta down on turn 2, when my opponent can't counter it, is a good way to eventually gain enough card value that I can beat my opponent. Yeah, so he's got his own Search, which is unfortunate because, like I said, it's a very good card. So put Serum Visions in our graveyard. No, I'm going to keep it. It's the same as just drawing a random card if I play it. And the Scries will help me set things up. And if I rip a land, then it also gives me turn 2 Logic Knot. So yeah, I would have drawn a Sphinx's Revelation, and then I would not have been able to bottom this Snap. I would have had to put that in my graveyard. So we will just do that and pass it back. So it's awkward to be missing land drops in this mirror, but I still don't think this was a mulligan. Okay, so he binned Blessed Alliance, which is telling me that he's not playing Jeskai, but is straight blue-white, which is difficult in the sense that they have more ways to destroy a flipped Search for Iskanta. But they don't have Burn as a... Yes, so he's spreading seas this thing. I'm just going to bolt his face now. The way we win is going to be Burn, match 1. We have some additional threats in the sideboard we can bring in, but match 1, I'm just going to be burning his face. So I'm going to point that at him now. Untap. Nope. Okay, so now we got our 3rd land. It's going to get a Hallowed Fountain. All right, Serum Visions. All right, he kept one on top, but he's not. If he sacks this fetch land, he won't be able to keep. He'll be shuffling that card in. I'm not going to fetch just to not thin out my land count. Also, I bottomed a Snapcaster Mage, and I don't want to draw that. So it's just want to keep my land count high to try to hit another land. Okay, Negate's really good, but I do need to bin it just because I need to get more lands here. All right, Cryptic's not what I want to see here, so I'm going to have to go fetch Snap Serum. It's a little awkward in that if my opponent has Remand, he's going to be able to get some good value. Okay, so that's perfect. We can bottom this and keep this on top, and we can make our land drop for turn. So really happy that resolved. My opponent's shuffling away the card he kept on top, so I like seeing that. Yeah, I feel like if I was in his position, I would have countered that because it was pretty clearly a desperation move on my part that I'm looking for lands. And just the tempo play of keeping me off lands is really good. Okay, so he's knocking out my white source. We do have another white source coming down next turn, though. And we're going to be able to start beating in with the Snapcaster Mage, which is pretty important. So keep that on top, play it, and we just have Cryptic Command for days. So my opponent's going to need to double spell to resolve anything, and he's going to need to do something since I have Snapcaster Mage beating in for 2 each turn, plus the threat of additional burn. Yeah, like Path is fine. I'm going to use the ability, and I'm going to get a Plains here just as an additional white source. So he's going to be able to flip his Search. Yeah, so he bends the Snapcaster Mage so he can flip that. Field of Ruin's annoying because he can hit my Colonnade. Serum Visions. Yeah, that's fine. I'm tempted to just cycle this Cryptic Command, trying to bounce his Ascanta. That way I can counter it when it comes back down. Because on following turns, I'll have Logic Knot and Cryptic up. And it's going to be hard for my opponent to tap out in response, because if I have a Teferi that I can get down, if he taps out to fight over this, then he's going to have a really difficult time getting back in the game. So I think this is the right play to bounce the Sunken Ruins and try to draw a card here. Yeah, and if he taps out and I don't get a Teferi, then I'm just going to jam Sphinx's Revelation, and he's going to need probably a Dispel, because he's going to be tapping, I think, 4 mana here, either for Cryptic or for... Oh, he's just going to tap 2. So he's going to have Negate, possibly Counter Magic up. Logic Knot. Man. It's hard to bin Counter Magic, but at the same time... I need action, so I will bin it. That's not the action I wanted, though. I mean, it'll take out the Colonnade at some point, but he can't snap Negate. He does have Mana Leak, though, or potentially has Mana Leak. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass the turn, and I'm gonna try to do that again, bouncing these Kanta at his end step next turn. Oh, well, this is even better. I'm gonna tap for blue here. Get a island. My opponent's only gonna have 1 mana. I don't think he's gonna have Dispel. And I am just gonna Sphinxes for 4. Yeah. So don't get to play the land since that was on my end step, but I can get rid of this path. And now, if he taps out for Teferi, hopefully I can Cryptic with Counterspell backup. And my search for Skanta is going to be flipping pretty soon here, so he is going to need a way to get rid of mine as well. So this looks like a Snapcaster Serum Visions. No, this is perfect. I'm going to be able to play Teferi with counter magic up. So not putting that in, but will flip. Going to play a Scalding Tarn. And I'm just going to jam this Teferi. Yep. And so what's perfect here is if he Cryptics, I just Logic Knot it. And then, okay, Snap, Negate is what he's going for. Okay, that's a little annoying that he's going to have 2 Snapcaster Mages. But it's still going to be fine. Because Teferi will tick up to 5. Okay, Logic Knot. That. Let me just make sure I did hit the negate and not the Teferi. Only need to pay 1, so let's just get rid of Scalding Tarn here. Okay. Tick up Teferi, draw a card. Yeah. So I'll untap 2 lands. These 2. And if my opponent activates Colonnade in an attempt to take out Teferi, I might just Snap Path it. Spreading Seas. Okay, so he's got an answer to my Azcanta. Okay, both coming in at Teferi. Colonnade. So I'm gonna snap bolt one of these Snapcasters down, but I'm gonna get another white source. Yeah, I'm paying 2 life. I guess I should have. No, I had to do it that way because I'm bolting. I wanted to get white, so get a lightning bolt. Bolt a Snapcaster. Yep. Okay, cool. We drew a path for the Colonnade. So I'm going to play Foundry. I can afford to pay the life. Draw a card. I guess I should not have played that in case I draw a Colonnade here. Okay, doesn't matter. Electrolyze would have been nice earlier. So I could just take out both the Snapcaster Mages. But now I am going to swing in with this. Path. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I'm going to do this 1 and 1. Okay, drew another Cryptic. That's good. Yep. So I'll fetch up an island here. And end of turn, I'll get to untap 2 of my lands. Okay, let's see what he reveals. Gideon of the Trials. Yeah, not too worried about that card. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bounce draw his Escanta. Then untap this land and this land. So now I have Path and Logic Knot up. Yeah, so he's animating Colonnade, which hopefully is not going to work out too well for him. So I'm going to Path it. And I have a feeling that he has Counter Magic, and I guess I should have done this before he declared it as an attacker. So if he has to tap it for mana, he couldn't still attack. But doesn't matter. Looks like that resolves. And yeah, if he tries to play Escanta, I'll just Logic Knot it. Yep. Cool. Snapcaster Mage is good. Tick up with the Fairy. Oh shoot. I guess I'll tap 2 because I have to untap lands. Yeah. So if you don't tap your own lands, you have to untap your opponent's. It's kind of strange, but that's how it works. Colonnade's fine. I'll just snap Path it, and I'll do it correctly this time by doing a pre-combat. Yeah, time's really important in this matchup. Okay, I will counter draw. So I'm really glad that I'm ahead on time because this goes to game 3. Time is going to be a factor. All right. Just need some burn spells, I think, to close out the match. There's one of them. Nope. I'm just going to cast Burn Spell now. Swing in with Snapcaster Mage. Bounce Snapcaster Mage to draw a card. And then replay it and flash back that bolt to finish him off. And yeah, that's the power of having burn spells, is that I didn't need Colonnade to have a clock on my opponent. I think I did 10 points of burn from a Lightning Bolt, flashback, Lightning Bolt, and then 1 point from Electrolyze. So you add in that, plus the 5-6 damage he took from shocks and fetches, and I guess he must have taken a little more because I only needed to hit in with the Snapcaster once. So, or no, I hit in twice. But yeah, that just goes to show you what red can bring to the deck. Even though it's only 8 red cards in the main and 1 in the sideboard, it does bring a lot in helping you close out matches like that. So for sideboarding, we really just want threats and counterspells. So these are additional threats that we have, and these are our counterspells. So what can we cut? We can shave some number of paths. Electrolyze is a little weak. It's good in that it can kill off Snapcaster Mages without costing me a card because it'll cycle, but it's just a little slow. Obviously want to leave in some number of paths for Colonnade, plus he might bring in some threats of his own. Actually, now that I think about it, he almost certainly will have a Vendilion Click. So maybe I want to keep in path in case he does bring in, big threats like Baneslayer or Click, and just be trimming on burn a little bit. So going down all my burn for all this counter magic, basically turning into a blue-white deck that's got all these red lands, is a little awkward. It's possible I don't want Baneslayer. It's such an expensive threat. So I'm not going to bring in Baneslayer. And I'm going to leave in an Electrolyze, since that can kill off Click, Snapcaster Mage without costing me cards. But my hope is to just land a threat and then just hold up counter magic and take the game that way. I mean, now that I think about it, maybe no, I think it's right to bring in Elspeth, because if you can find a place when you can resolve that, it's going to be game over, because you've got 3 1/1 creatures in play. You have and you have a 5 loyalty Planeswalker, which means Colonnade doesn't just take it out. This might be a mulligan. It's 2 lands, and I don't have any Serum Visions or Search to help filter my draw to get more lands. And if I get he can easily cut me off mana with Spreading Seas, and these 2 paths are pretty awkward to have in my opening hand. So I actually am going to mulligan this. And I think this hand's a lot better. We have an interactive spell. We have 3 lands, so I'm going to keep this. I don't think I think I'll draw my 4th land. I think now I'm looking for something like a Search or a Click or like a Cryptic. Yeah, I think I would rather draw an action card on my first turn. All right, Negate's good. You really don't want to see a Search for Iskanta on turn 2. I'm not sure how many they run. Okay, well, he's got it. Unfortunately, I don't have Spell Snare, obviously, so I'm just going to have to get I'll get a Steam Vent and not pay life. So this is tough, because I'm going to need to find a way to get rid of that. So I'm going to get Hallowed Fountain tapped. Click is good. I like that a lot. Being able to click him on his end step if he doesn't do anything is good. It'll give me some pressure on. Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say he only had 1 blue source, which was awkward for him. Yeah, I can't float that and do anything special. I guess I could have. No, it's fine. I'm just going to get an island. All right. Hallowed Fountain. I'm going to pay 2 life. I'm not going to click into what feels so obviously like a Cryptic. I think that's why he Field of Ruined me on my end step, so he can get 3 blue sources down. So I'm going to play this card that just is going to help me get to having a land next turn. And if he counters it, like if he taps out to counter it, then I'm okay with that. Ooh, okay. Well, we'll start with the Serum Visions. Okay, good. We got a land. Just want more land at this point. So I'm going to bottom both of those. Not going to play a Search. I don't think it's going to resolve. So I don't think there's a point to doing that. I'd rather just hold a counter magic on his turn. Like if I search, he Cryptics and then plays Teferi, I just lose. So can't do that. But next turn, I can search, hold up, negate, Logic Knot, and be in a good position here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. My other option is Snap Serum, but if I miss on a land, then I won't have Counter Magic up, and then he could play Teferi or Elspeth, and I'd be in bad shape. Yeah, I think I just let this resolve. It's a little awkward, but I kind of can't go down, can't go shields down, because otherwise I think I just lose if he has a threat. And I guess that's where having Click helps, because it'll give me sense of what's in his hand so I know what to play around. Okay, turn is good. Yeah, I'm going to click him on his end step. Yeah. No surprise there. Do I want to click now? Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I'll just click now. No, I won't click now. That doesn't make sense. I'll just pass. Because he's still got Cryptic up, and I'd rather him tap out on the end of his turn for Counter Magic than counter my click and then untap and be in good shape there. So I am below. I'm lower in time than him now. So I need to pick up the pace a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. See here, if he Cryptics, I can negate, and then I'll untap and have Logic Knot up. Yeah, I think I really want this click to resolve. With the two Snapcaster Mages, I think I can start getting some creature pressure in play. Yeah, so this is great. I'm going to negate it. It's also shields down, so maybe, depending on what I see here, I can just slam an Elspeth if I draw an untapped land. And so I'm going to take his Elspeth. So he's got these awkward paths, Snapcaster, Spreading Sea. So he has no good way to deal with an Elspeth if I can resolve one. So let's take his Elspeth. Wasn't an Elspeth, but possibly an even better card in Teferi. Okay, Logic Knot's good. Start putting pressure on. I will untap 2 blue sources to have Logic Knot up, and I think we're in great shape. Okay. Spreading Seas. So I only have 1 white source, only 1 red source, so the Elspeth's stranded a little bit. Don't have another Hallowed Fountain to search for, which is awkward. Okay, so there's both my white sources. But I think that I've got enough pressure going on that that's not the end of the world, that he's just attacking my mana base. Because I don't really need white right now. I got my Teferi down. I've got Counter Magic up. He's got these awkward snabs and paths. Colonnade's great. I will draw first, just in case I see something I want to play instead. But now I'm just going to play Colonnade. Swinging with click. And yeah, I probably will Logic Knot a path here. Yeah. I think leaving a threat up is good, and I'm going to be able to, you know, untap lands to hold up counter magic. He's binning Dispel, which seems a little desperate, and I guess he needs... I guess I'm not sure what he's looking for, but I feel like you'd want Dispel to make sure that whatever card you're playing resolves. It's a little awkward. It does turn off the Snapcaster Mage he has in hand, though, and maybe that's good enough. Yeah, I guess I just let this resolve. He has a Snapcaster, a Path, and an Unknown. So even though my Snapcasters get a lot worse, and so does this Logic Knot, I guess. Yeah, I guess I should have thought about that a little bit more. Is that Logic Knot needs Delve to be really super functional? Okay, I'll let him Snapcast in response. Snapcast Path. Okay, that's pretty smart. I guess maybe I should have countered that. Well, I'll let him path, or attempt to path, and then I'll snap negate. Or, actually, do I care? I think I just snap Electrolyze. Yeah, let's just draw some cards, get rid of his Snapcaster Mage. I can beat in with my Snapcaster Mage. I think that's a pretty decent clock, so let's just do that. Let the path happen. Stroke's pretty good. Accessibility, yep. Yeah, so opponent's left with a path in hand. And the Teferi is getting pretty close to ultimating here. Okay, so I'm gonna start by fetching up something. I think I still have a Steam Vent left. I'll pay life. I will Serum Visions. Probably don't want either of these cards. Oh shoot! Can I undo that? No, you can't undo that. I should have kept the Glacial Fortress. It's the second white source, but oh well. Bottom both. Teferi. Snapcaster Mage. Okay, we'll swing in with Snapcaster here. Gonna play another Snapcaster now just to increase the clock. And then untap a couple blue sources. All right, so he gets a Logic Knot. Also awkward with the Rest in Peace. So he's, I'm not the only one hurt by Rest in Peace taking away Graveyard for Delve. He's Glacial Fortress, so I'm pretty sure that he's... Yeah, he definitely has a path in hand. Detention Sphere. Well, this is awkward. Because I don't really have a good way to deal with that. Oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, yeah, I mean, if I Logic Knot for the full amount, I won't take it down. So unfortunately, I have to let that resolve. Disdainful Stroke can get rid of Logic Knot if it gets too high. Yeah, I think I just play another Snapcaster Mage. Threaten lethal,
he's got a Path and a Logic Knot. And if he goes to Path one of these Snapcaster Mages, and I draw a white source, so really should have kept that Glacial Fortress on top, and Colonnade's just lethal. Oh. I didn't sideboard these out? That was obviously a mistake. These should have been sideboarded out. And I should have had a couple more burn spells. So definitely a mistake there. Doesn't look like it's going to matter. I think we are in very good shape here. Path. Yeah, I think he should have not let me untap. Because he is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, shoot, I can't Logic Knot that. Okay, all right, so I guess that doesn't matter. I will use the ability to shuffle my library to try to get that Glacial Fortress back towards the top. But yeah, we're just going to knock him down to 2. All he's got left is a Logic Knot and whatever he gets off Search. So if he finds another path, well, no, if he finds another path, I just Logic Knot that. Negate. Okay, that's pretty good. Colonnade is not good. I don't know what he can find now, because he needs to get rid of both of these cards. I guess if he left in Supreme Verdict, but you're definitely supposed to sideboard them out, so I don't think he did. Gideon's pretty good, but I do have the counter magic for it. So, don't think that's going to work out for him. Yep. And that's the game. So, took down blue-white control. Definitely made some mistakes, certainly in sideboarding, but yeah, I think that Jeskai is definitely the better control deck. If you're going to be playing blue-white, you probably should go blue-white-red, because these spreading seas and the extra, Field of Ruins, I don't think those are good enough to justify missing out on a way to close out the game.